company, and it's in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I was just going to make a quick stop because we're headed to Charlotte. But look at what I ended up picking up all these books. And so my husband bought me a bunch of books that I'm going to share with you. Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. So in my last video, I talked about this adventure, this road trip I took my husband on to see some gardens in Charlotte that were mentioned in a book that I had read this past spring. So while we were headed to Charlotte to this garden, I did stop off in Rock Hill for a bookstore that I'd heard about. It's called Liberty Books, and I had this little bookmark to remind me. It's called the Liberty Book Company, and it is in Rock Hill, and they are locally owned, and they sell new and used books, and you can trade in books and get discounts and things. So I kept this so I would remember. You know, they always give you little bookmarks when you go to these little bookstores, which I appreciate. So the Liberty Book store was one that I went to, and then in Charlotte, I think this one was in Charlotte. Yes, Charlotte, there was one called Book Buyers, and then in that store it was interesting because they had Book Buyers, but they also had the Greener Apple, which was in there too, and I bought from both of those. But I did pick up these bookmarks to remind me of the stores that I went to that I love so much. And then I also went into another little bookstore. They didn't give me a bookmark, and so I can't remember the name of it. But if I remember, I'll try to put in the title of that one too. But anyway, we went to several bookstores. Oh, I think I have footage. I'll try to put in some footage of the storefront of that one as well. So we did stop at several because anytime I go anywhere, I look for bookstores in the area. And so these are the books that I found. But before I tell you about the books that I purchased, I also wanted to mention in the garden tours, I talked about the little free library that was in the reading garden. And I picked up this book there for free in the free little library. It's The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I'm not sure how to say the last name. But I think that Krista over at Books and Jams had read this book. And it definitely looks like a winter read. I am seasonal a lot of times with my reading. So I'm going to put this away till winter. And let me know if you've read this one. But I think I heard about it on her channel. I think it has something to do with midwives or something. And I could be totally wrong. But anyway, this was one that I had heard about and it looked interesting. The cover, mainly, looked like a great winter read. And so I had traded this in for another hardback that I put in place of it in the little free library. So I thought I'd mention that because I did pick that up while I was there, even though it was free. And so these are the other books that I found at these little bargain bookstores. Okay, so here we go. The first ones were some Christmas books. I collect Christmas books. It's not here in my library, but in my den, I have a bookshelf designated to just Christmas books because during Christmas, I pull them all out. I decorate the house with them so that everybody can be reading Christmassy books during the holiday. So I found a Clement C. Moore book illustrated by Arthur Rackham, and that is a famous illustrator, and everybody wants his work. And so there's some beautiful illustrations for The Night Before Christmas in this one. So I picked that up just because of the illustrator. And then this one just because of the location. It says Christmas in Georgia, and I don't know anything about this. It's not that long. It's not even 200 pages, so I thought I might give this one a try because I live in South Carolina, but I'm right at the border of Georgia. And then two more Christmas. This one's called Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and it is such a vintage looking. Look at that cover. I had to have it. I mean, look at the end papers. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? And inside, it's poetry and things. I love the illustrations in this one. Love the illustrations. So I was really excited to find that. Can't wait to look through that one at Christmas. And then if you follow my channel, you know that I'm not a big poetry person. I do like poetry, but I don't read a lot of it. But I love Helen Steiner Rice, and this is her Christmas book. It's called Christmas Blessings. So I was excited to get this because I do like to pick up her books anytime I see them because they're great to just pick up and read in the mornings and things. Okay, so those are the Christmas books. Now these are just some vintage books, a lot of classics, and some children's books I found. I have picked up, I can't remember where, but one of my books for Big Book Summer is a Delderfield, and this is one by Delderfield. It's called To Serve Them All My Days by R.F. Delderfield, and when he was writing books, he was compared to Anthony Trollope, so that's why I want to try his work. And I have the first one I want to try during the summer for Big Book Summer. So let me know if you've read any Delderfield. And then this was a great find. This is a great copy of China Court. And again, I love it when they have these pictures on the back. But look at that great cover. I was very excited to get a great copy of China Court, and it's in great shape. I love the Reader's Digest classics. They just feel good. I love reading from these. They always have great illustrations inside. They're well made. They hold up. And they always have these little extra papers that come in the front of them that talk about the book itself. And so I just love them. I have my favorite copy of Emma is in this edition. I just love reading from that copy. David Copperfield, I have that one that I loved reading it. And so this is The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now, I have read this book before. It's been many years. I need to get back to it. And I thought when I saw this, yes, I want that because it's just a new experience when you read it in a different edition. And I don't know what it is about the Reader's Digest editions, but I do love their editions. So I picked up that one. And also another Hawthorne, which is Twice Told Tales. And so I was excited to get this one too. This is just some of his short stories. I've read a lot of his short stories, but I still have a lot more to read because, I kind of pick and choose those. So those were great to get. And then when I went in the store, there was a section that was classic. So, of course, I just went straight over to that. And the Nathaniel Hawthorne was all together. So I picked this up, too, because I've never read it. And it's a Penguin edition of the Blithedale Romance. And it's in perfect shape. So I picked that up. There was a Bradbury that I did not have. I love Ray Bradbury. He is one of the authors that I want to read all of his work, and this is The Halloween Tree. Now, I do have the cartoon, The Halloween Tree, where he actually, I think he narrates The Halloween Tree. I think Ray Bradbury actually narrates it on the cartoon, but I've never actually read it, so I have that copy. This was one I didn't know anything about by Francis Parkinson Keyes, but it said something about Gothic. So, of course, I picked it up. It's called Victorine, and I know that it's shiny, but look at that gorgeous cover. Isn't that beautiful? And then on the back is this house or factory or something. I'm not sure what that is on the back. But I love I think that's a Dalmatian right there that she is walking. But anyway, I was like, yes, this looks like a Mitzi book. I'm not even sure what this is about, but it seems like when I was reading it, it said something Gothic about it. And I love Gothic fiction, so I'm hoping that it will be, a great Gothic one to read this fall. This is an Edgar Allan Poe that I didn't have, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. So I picked that up because it was super cheap. Some of these were like $1, so I just threw them in my cart. This is one I have wanted to read for a very long time. It is a classic, and I just like the cover of this one, and it's in good shape. A paperback of The Scarlet Pimpernel, and I have never read that one, so I want to try it. I found another Henry James. I have been reading through a few Henry James lately. This one is What Maisie Knew. Now, it's not in the best shape, but it was so cheap, I added it to my basket too. Because I am trying to read through a lot of Henry James. Now the next set of books are middle grade books and vintage, oh, I hit my camera, and vintage middle grade. So the first one is by Robinson Barnwell, which was a woman who was from South Carolina. So I had to pick this book up. It's called Head into the Wind. Look at that gorgeous cover. And she is on the back. I love it when they have these beautiful authors on the back of these. And so I picked this up because she was a South Carolinian. And I wanted to read a book by a fellow South Carolinian from a middle grade. And this was published in, let's see. This was published in 1965. So I am very interested. Have you ever heard of this? I'd never heard of it, but I had to pick that up. There was a great copy of Ribsy. I had this copy actually when I taught school, but I left it. And since it was a hardcover, I have Ribsy already, but this hardcover I just added because if it's Beverly Cleary, I want it. This one looks so fun. It's called It's a Mystery. And I loved these books when I was a kid. It's called Stories of Suspense by Mildred Bingham. So it's just little short story mysteries for kids. So I'm thinking Nancy Drew type stories, but in a short story form. This was one I didn't have, but I have wanted it, and it's by Louise May Alcott, and it's the sequel to 8 Cousins. I have 8 Cousins, but I don't have Rose in Bloom. And I do want to read this one. And I love that copy. Isn't that pretty? And again, these were like $1. I found this and I'd never heard of it before. But it is by Frances Hodgson Burnett. The Secret Garden. Frances Hodgson Burnett. And it's called Editha. I guess is how you say your name. Editha's Burglar. Do you know anything about this? Because I have never heard of it. It says, a gentle and unforgettable story of a child's courage and innocence in Victorian England. And so, yes, because that is my time period that I love the most. I found a Hardy Boys. Once I finished number 10 of Nancy Drew, I'm going to try to read in some of the other now, I know there's a lot more Nancy Drew, but I will stop at 10 and start reading some of these other mysteries that I have on my shelf. And so this is number 3, The Secret of the Old Mill. Hardy Boys. I thought I would give a few Hardy Boys a try. I loved these when I was in middle school too. And then this one looked interesting. I don't know anything about this one. It's called Winter's Mischief by Marjorie Hill Alley. Not sure. But it just looked like an interesting cover. And this was published in 1942. So that was a long time ago. Now this little set, the reason I picked up this box set of 5 books was for one little book in here, Helen Keller. I love this little version, this biography for middle graders. It's very short, but I would always read this to my class, my 3rd graders, and I would do a whole week of different things about the visually impaired and the hearing impaired. And so I did this. There was a lady that actually worked in our school that had a Braille typewriter, and she would type out my kids' names in Braille and things like that. We'd do all kinds of little activities like that. But I always read this book by Stuart and Polly Ann Graff because it's a great little biography of Helen Keller. And look at my copy. I mean, really, it's falling apart. So when I saw this brand new looking copy, I said, I don't care how much this is. I think it was $6. So, you know, I got them for a little over $1 a piece. But it was for this one book. So now I'm going to read these others. I haven't ever read these. But this one was so good. And it was such a great one for the middle grade, early, upper elementary, that I thought these might be good too. This one is for Louis Armstrong. And then we have Eleanor Roosevelt. I love that cover. Martin Luther King Jr. and Amelia Earhart. And I did a whole thing on, I talked about all of these people in my classroom. So this will be a great set for me to just go through and read these little biographies. I don't know what it was about that Helen Keller book, but I loved it, and I could not let it go because I have taped it up and everything else. So when I saw this brand new copy, I said, yep, I'm buying that set. And then I can read some of these others too, because they're just fun to just have. And so when the grandbaby gets older, he can have this set. So those are the books that I found on my little road trip to Charlotte just recently. I know I have enough books, but if there's a bargain on some books, I want them. And now that I have this new library, I am working through kind of seeing what I want to keep, what I want to get rid of and donate, and I still have some space. So I'm adding these to my collection. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these or if you found a treasure lately at a secondhand bookstore. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.